The world can feel like it's going to shit at all times, and it often does. But I believe that the most important thing we can do for ourselves is to maximize every ounce of wonder that life has to offer us, in spite of the general narrative of humanity and the doomsday mindset that 98% of people carry with them. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 things that you need to master in order to unlock the fruits this life has to offer. Make the most in love, life, and laughter, because those weird little Pinterest signs, they kind of got some deep meaning. Live, laugh, love. Isn't that all we're trying to do? So 3 things you got to master. 1, you have to define your enough. You need to decide, hey, where am I going to draw the line? Where am I comfortable with planting my foundation, being 10 toes down and spending the rest of my life once I've accomplished the thing that I consider enough? Number 2, you need to master the real holy trinity, the mind, body, and soul. And I'm going to tell you what that actually looks like in a modern world, not just some spiritual woo-woo monk master type of thing, which is great, but sometimes I feel like the extremes are where we get lost. So what does it look like to meet halfway, to still be a part of a modern digital world that's ever evolving, but also ground ourselves to our human nature, our divine nature, our connection to the source of all things going on? Because I believe that creation is inherently perfect, and all we need to do is fall into harmony with that source, which leads me into step 3. The ultimate skill you could acquire and master over the course of your life to make the most is going to be learning to let go, to surrender, and allow life to succumb to you, to meet you halfway, to bring you blessings so you no longer have to chase, you no longer have to fight, you no longer got to beg, borrow, barter, cheat, and steal to get crumbs of an experience. And I think if you can master all 3 of those things, you're going to experience a lot of love, laughter, and life. And make sure that by the time you leave this world, you've done everything you wanted to do, you loved everyone you wanted to love, and you've experienced the fruits of your labor. So let's get back to the first concept. I realized the whiteboard kind of constricted me, and I might have found myself creating for what I thought people wanted, or creating for a variant of the wisdom I had, but that didn't necessarily feel as authentic. It kind of felt performative at times to put it on the whiteboard and to be like, Joe Dispenza, manifestation, blah, 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 this and that, which is all great. But in order for me to truly transmit to you what I see to be true, I just got to do it in a raw environment. So that's what we're doing. This is me defining my enough. This is me saying, I don't really care how I come across on the internet. I don't really care what you think of me, what you think my intentions are. I'm just here to be Grant. I'm here to share my wisdom, share my truth, be creative, and share the things I want to talk about. And it all started because I defined my enough. When I was 23, 24, I was coming out of $80,000 in debt. And that can really imprint you with a sense of lack, imprint you with a sense of scarcity, and imprint you with the sense of always having to chase more, always having to level up and accumulate something. That's a bird of prey. That's 2 birds of prey. There's some big hawks or eagles flying over me. Nature. Scarcity was something that plagued me, and it was a mindset that I brought into my most successful business. Now, when things were overly abundant, you can't help but to counter that scarcity mindset. But when things start to slow down, because life goes in waves, right? You have a high, and then that low exposes areas of your psyche, areas of your ego that you need to work on, which for me was scarcity, or always being a high achiever, never having enough. The month after we scaled to the peak of $267,000 a month, I'm like, what's next? That is a terrible mindset to have, which is why the first thing that I'm offering you is define your enough. Because when you have your mind's eye, your eyesight, when you have your energy, attention, and awareness set on a place in life where you will be able to no longer pursue achievement. You'll feel comfortable to embark on that journey because it feels attainable. So when I'm also saying define your enough, you have to come at it from the place of, hey, I know I can accomplish this, right? That's kind of what living from the end is not being like, I'm going to start $1 billion company next year. That kind of sets your subconscious mind off a little rough when you lay the foundations, because it's not realistic for everyone to do that. And I don't think it's even worthy pursuing those type of goals. I think the most important thing we can pursue is a healthy mind, a healthy body, a healthy soul, and we reap what we sow. So when we are overflowing from that state, we invest in people. We invest in our romantic relationships, our friendly relationships, our business and entrepreneurial relationships. And from there, you start to get what you give. And it kind of starts this ebb and flow of life where your karmic cycle starts to bring you more fruits of your labor because you are so overflowing, because you have enough. And when you have enough, you invest in yourself to continue experiencing that overflow, that it pours over into everyone you come across. And when you do this, life really starts to work in your favor. This is what a life-affirming energy is. Like, life wants to support and is magnetized to and is attracted to someone that invests in the experience, that chooses to show up and wear their heart on their sleeves and give 110% of who they are, despite all the doomsday talk, despite what's going on in the world. They just show up and they're them and they're human. And I'm sure you've experienced people like this. They're just effortlessly magnetic. It's not the car they drive. It's not how much money they make. It's the energy they bring and how they choose to show up. And my guess is that's because they've defined their enough. They're like, this is enough for me. I can surrender and let go of the lack. I can surrender and let go of the scarcity, which will allow me to fall into the abundance of this moment. I feel so blessed to be sitting here in nature. I'm in Northern California right now with the people I love. Like, what more could I ask for? If I were to die tomorrow, would I be worried about how much money my business was making? Not really. But there are responsibilities. If you want a family, if you want experience, if you want to travel, I believe it's healthy to have goals. It's healthy to seek things. It's healthy to aim for achievement, but as long as it doesn't define you. And one thing that I've been working on doing is separating my personal sense of self from achievement. I feel better when I'm investing in my mind, body, and soul, which leads me to point 2 of our little podcast. I think point 2 is all about realizing the real Holy Trinity is you, right? If you reap what you sow, you must sow into yourself, because you're the only constant in every experience in life. You are what shows up in your romantic relationships. You are what shows up in the thoughts you have in your head. You are what shows up in the gym. You are what shows up when it comes to discipline in your diet. So I think the most important thing we can do that has effortless and infinite return on investment is prioritizing our mind, body, and soul. And this requires a complete lifestyle uprooting, a complete unlearning of what society sells us, right? It's unlearning the capitalistic mindset, the need for more, the need to buy more, the need to prove ourselves, the needs to keep up with the Joneses. Who gives a fuck about the Jones? They're living their own life. It's not your job to validate your experience to anyone you come across, not even your mother, your brother, your father, your sister, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents. Who cares? This is your life. Do what you want. Live authentically to you. And when you are living authentically and you are not bound by the chains of some societal norm or some expectation, you show up and you are fruitful in your relationships. You're fruitful in how you invest into the world. And I think that's one of the most important things to note. And I think one of the only ways that we truly experience freedom is by investing in our mind, body, and soul. We invest in our mind through mindfulness practices. Mindfulness practices allow us to still our mind, to stop that conversation from that voice that is ever nitpicking every decision we make, every desire we have, every goal we set for ourselves. You won't be able to do that. It's okay. You can cheat on your diet today. Go out to the bars, have that drink. it's always talking, whether it's positive things or negative things, it's always talking. And that's the thing that you need to slow down and you need to find stillness in. You do that through meditation, you do that through conscious awareness, and you know me. That's what a lot of my YouTube channel is about. Conscious awareness is just literally observing your thoughts. For me, it's realizing like, hey, me being in an Uber with my mom to the airport to go visit my grandma is not the most optimal location to be focused on optimizing business metrics. Right? That is me becoming aware of how my mind wanders into that thought process, pulling me from the moment, pulling me into a subconscious program, when I should be taking in this moment. Something as small as just looking at my mom and be like, oh my God, I'm not gonna get to have this experience forever. So I might as well take advantage of it now. I might as well love this moment now. I might as well realize that I have enough right now. That is what it looks like to invest in your mind, so you can be present in each moment. So I can gently hear the breeze, feel the breeze, see the different shades of green, watch the fall colors change. Those are the moments that your soul craves. And in presence, you can begin investing in your soul. Invest in your soul, not through taking from the experience, but through giving to the experience. When you are present, you realize you can be more attentive to people's needs. You could be more engaged in conversation. You could be more thoughtful in the decisions you make in your relationships, because you are taking other people into consideration, because you are no longer battling that inner narrative. Everything is multidimensional, right? This is what a lot of the spiritual teachings are. It's not like mind, body, and soul. They may be on different planes, but they're one ecosystem. You are one organism. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So get the domino falling in one angle, and it will become easier and more effortless to say yes to the things you want to say yes to in places that might have felt more challenging at first, right? For me, the one thing that I always need to be on top of is my diet and fitness. If I'm not doing that, then I'm not taking care of anything. But if I'm doing that, then that frees up so much energy and mental real estate and focus to focus on other things I want to do. Business is a big thing for me. One thing that I haven't done as much on this channel specifically is talk about like a real world application. Like Grant, you make income claims, you're like, oh my God, I made $1 million manifesting, but what did that actually look like? How did you come to that decision? How did you decide that that was the path of career you wanted to delve into, right? I think those are conversations that I just want to have, because some of the most value I get from creators I consume is just in their like real raw life experience, like hearing why they made decisions, how their path ended up going that certain direction. And just from listening and observing, you just pick up certain patterns. And in these patterns, you can apply those to your own life and find insight and be like, oh my God, this was sitting in front of me the whole time. So that's a promise I want to make to you guys, is just being more authentic in my transmission, being more authentic in my journey, and not really trying to like niche myself down, but just have a conversation about things I want to converse about. Like I would love to tell you guys how I think the future of business is going to go. Like how I think if you want to make a multiple 6-figure a year salary on your own accord, on your own schedule, where you have financial freedom, where you have purpose, where you have community, where you have connection, it's all going to come down to social media. In May, I started an Instagram channel or an Instagram page just for fun to post like my spirituality stuff. It has 155,000 followers now. Like that's a skill that can be acquired. And with that skill, I can literally DM everyone that I love watching on the internet and start a conversation with them, and they'll respond to me. That's amazing. Like I love to do that. Like that's such a perk of just having that skill. Not only that, but if you learn to show up on YouTube and you learn to provide value just through your life experience and sharing your story, like people want to walk the path that you walk. You don't need to go formulate what you think people want, when you can just speak to your path, when you can just speak to your journey. Like me, if I were to tell you what I really want right now, I already have a decent amount of it. So I'm already so close to my enough. I put some good money away, but I want to keep buying Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is freedom. Maybe that's a conversation we'll have on this channel. We'll go from spirituality and reprogramming to yourself to orange pilling you guys, and why I think that Bitcoin is something that you guys need to be educated on. I want to put my money in places that hold their value, that buy me time in the future, that aren't being consumed because of a poor financial system that the US government is operating on $35 trillion in debt. Like, come on, like, there's something fundamentally wrong with that in the first place. So we need to be talking about that. We need to be having a conversation about that. Because I put my money in Bitcoin over the last couple of years. It was up. We had a flash crash, but a large majority of my money was up 40 to 80%, doing nothing. You put $100,000 in Bitcoin when it was 60,000, it goes up to 100,000. You just made $100,000 appear because you made an investment in a smart asset. Story for another time, but this is a passion I have. This is what I want for my life. Because if my money is going to hold its value 20 years into the future, I don't need to work as much. The reason we need to work so much is because the dollar is flawed, because of inflation, because of our inability to buy things, because prices go up, but our dollars are also worth less. That's why they say the elites are just separating so much from the middle class and everyday person. Prices are going up, dollar value is going down, so there's just a gap in our ability to attain real estate and anything you need to lay like a stable foundation for the future. And I believe the way to counter that is not only to have a good investment and saving strategy, but to have a good career strategy, to build skills that are going to be useful in the next 20 to 30 years, right? Media is always going to be around. We don't know what form it's going to take, right? We have new social media platforms coming out anywhere and everywhere. So I take that a layer deeper. How do you sell pickaxes to the gold rush? You need to have skills. You need to be able to build an audience. You need to be able to monetize. You need to be able to sell products online, right? Those are priceless skills. And those are conversations that I want to have. And I think that falls into the pillars of investing into your mind, body, and soul. Because your soul probably feels tarnished by spending the same 8 to 9 hours in an office cubicle under UV lights, where when daylight savings rolls around, you wake up before the sun comes up and you get out of the office as the sun's going down. I believe we need to have a conversation around that, because I believe that's a fundamentally flawed way of fucking life. And no human should have to go through that. Yes, we have responsibilities, but if we can change our mindset and change our view over the world, then we're going to be able to create the change that we want to see. We're going to be able to invest in things that buy back our time, buy back our location freedom. Like, I haven't worked in 6 months. And that's okay, because I set myself up for this opportunity. But I also think it's important to have conversations about when it's time to monetize, when it's time to do these new things, like I sell the Ascension workshop. How can you align your ability to make money with actually changing people's lives? How can you align your ability to experience financial abundance with purpose and alignment and a deeper meaning beyond it, where the superficial way of just doing business and begging for the dollar just kind of dissolves, right? These are conversations that need to happen. And that's why I think the second thing that needs to be mastered for a good life is figuring out how to integrate your mind, body, and soul into a way of being, where your health parlays into your business, where your business parlays into your relationships and your ability to experience life, right? Multi-dimensional. How do we unlock a state of being in ourselves where we can experience everything? So I'm gonna start making business videos for this channel and just having a general conversation, because it is very simple to make money on the internet. You're probably just experiencing a lot of limiting beliefs around it. You're experiencing a lot of resistance. You're afraid to turn the camera on. Dude, I'm literally just sitting in my grandma's backyard right now. She's got this big hill, huge hill in nature, and I'm just having a conversation. These are conversations that I have with my mom, my brother, my friends, my team members. Like, this is authentic. Like, this is Grant. Yes, I understand things like what Joe Dispenza means when he says you need to get your thoughts and emotions in alignment. But this is what getting your thoughts and emotions in alignment is in the real world application. It's not just the science. It's just not theory. Like, this is what it looks like to have that conversation, what it looks like to have that thought process. And I get to work through that live with you guys, which is amazing. So just know, when you define what your enough is, for me, that looks like running an online community where I talk about things I love. I find a lot of purpose in the conversations I have with people that join me for my free content, join me for my paid content, join me for my workshops, if I feel aligned in that and I feel expansive and not bound to a single niche or a single idea of what Grant needs to be, and I feel creative and purposeful in my multi-dimensional expression of business, spirituality, health, relationships, that's enough for me. If I'm making 20 to 50K a month effortlessly, not where I'm like forcing myself to some place that I want to be, but it's just a product of who I am, and I built a system that works for me, that maintains the integrity and principles of what I want my business to be, that's enough for me. If I'm taking that money and I'm not buying stupid things, but I'm setting money aside so I can be a good taxpayer, I'm setting money aside so I can buy the investments I want to invest, and I'm investing and laying the foundations for my future, that's enough for me. It's enough for me knowing that I can put a pause on this conversation and go sit in the living room with my mom and my grandma and have a cup of coffee and make sure my presence and attention is on them. That I have time for my brother and our best friends, and time to golf, and time to sit on the couch and watch a movie with my roommates, right? Like, those are the moments I'm offered, and those are the moments I'm going to take. So it's important to live in that way. And once you have enough, it's all about your mind, body, and soul. Investing in your mind, body, and soul is so important because this is how you leave no box unchecked. For me, if I'm just investing in my mind and I'm aiming to learn and make money and evolve in the material world, but I'm not taking care of my body and my soul, I feel out of whack. Something feels wrong. But if I'm doing that and I'm showing up to the gym and I'm eating healthy and I'm doing cardio and my body feels electric, it feels like energized, and I'm spending time in mindfulness, I'm spending time investing in the thoughts that make me feel aligned, I'm spending time in meditation and prayer, and my entire being starts to work in this collective unit, then I know I'm doing the things that I need to do. So I'm operating from the state of enough because I have direction and I'm not confused on where I want to go, right? I'm unlocking that sense of wholeness because I have a goal that I'm after. I'm doing the proper daily activities to invest in my mind, body, and soul. Then we transition into the final, what I believe to be the most important piece of this conversation, which is letting go and surrendering. You are never going to experience the things you want to experience if you're always chasing, if you're always seeking, if you're always desiring, if you're always wanting and needing. I'm sure me just saying those words makes you feel that sensation of resistance. Find the things you want right now. And the secrets to unlocking those things are within the first 2 points and principles we talked about in this video. But letting go and surrendering is not an act of doing nothing. It's not an act of apathy. It's not an act of giving up. It's an act of presence. It's an act of living in harmony. It's not trying to force the river to your will, but falling into the river and allowing it to take you where it needs to take you. I look around in nature right now and I'm like, yeah, there's a divine intelligence. There's a gentle source of energy and love that guides all things. There's no way there isn't. And if you can find that in whatever you want it to be, in Christianity, in being a Muslim, in the Quran, in Buddhism, in Taoism, in New Age spirituality, right? Like, all you need is faith. And when you can believe that things are working out in your favor and you can see those things, you see those things in a surrendered state. Because when you surrender your expectation, you're more closely going to see life for what it is. One thing that I do is I just tell myself, like, this is exactly what my life is supposed to look like. I'm allowed to enjoy this experience right now. And that's one thing I'm doing for myself. Allowing myself to enjoy this experience right now. I don't need to be worried about being worth $50 million every day. I just turned 26. Life goes by super fast. I remember just turning 21 5 years ago. Crazy. And time flies. Like now I'm getting to the age where time is actually moving. And that's why I'm arranging my life with these principles, because I do not want to miss it. One of my favorite quotes from a song is, I don't want to close my eyes. I'm scared I'll miss too much. And that's just like the overwhelming sensation and feeling that I choose to live this life with, is none of this shit matters if you're not going to be a present observer and participant in the beauty of the ups and the downs. That's what it's all about. That's what the experience is about. And the only way you can truly experience that and ride the waves is from a surrendered state. Letting go, being okay with anything that life throws your way, knowing that you'll be able to navigate any challenge. And this is the energy that you can bring in to all things you do. I hope you guys enjoy this type of like podcast style video. It's nothing crazy, but it's real. It's me and I enjoy it. It's easy for me to come out here for 30 minutes and just talk the talk and really just have this conversation about life. So if this is something you guys enjoy, let's keep doing it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.